You always reject my collaboration Instagram post.
I don't.
Requests.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. Jason takes them, the guest takes them, I take them. You're like, that's not going on the grid, sweetheart.
They're on my grid.
Let's go to the tape. Let's go to the tape and then we'll get into it. But
I think we're into it.
Get into the Baldwins of it all.
And I'm listening to Kat Marnell's memoir again. It's like my third
It's a
time.
classic.
It's a classic. Like, some people read the Diary of Anne Frank every few years. Do they?
You did not accept the collaboration invite.
Well, who was it with?
Me. The podcast. Paula V. Jason. There's been others. There's the one.
Bravo breakdown.
Good morning, students.
So
Good morning,
scary.
Pepinos. We are back for another recap of Los Baldwinitos, which is, of course, Spanish for the Baldwins, the horrifically bad idea TLC Max show. Actually, I don't know if it was that bad of an idea because I feel like we're the only ones covering it.
We're the only ones ignoring it. Boots on the ground. But these are two magnetic people, and they need to be discussed. You know, they're trying to be the Von Trapps.
Yes. They've got a lot of
Von Trapped whenever I see them.
Yes, the claustrophobia is really what they're trying to give. Yeah. So, when we last left off in episode 3, we are back in therapy, which they say is their first couples therapy, which is obviously part of the problem.
Right.
And Alec and Hilaria are in a big fight because Alec wants to move now that the rest trial is over and just get away from it all. And Hilaria's like, no, you have to face your demons.
You have to face the demons. We can't just run away to España or LA.
Yeah, that is a good point. Why don't they live in Spain?
Yeah, where her whole family lives.
Yeah.
I think it's because the Hamptons is the closest she could get to Spain.
Yeah, it's because of geography. Like, they need to sit down at a map and figure this out. Like, she thinks she's like, you know.
She's not Magellan.
No, Magellan she ain't.
I'm telling. Yeah, she's not.
And she's not even gelling like Magellan.
She's not gelling. They are not gelling like Magellan.
He was almost gelling like a felon.
Yeah.
Another topical reference.
Yeah, well, and also she's not even like Dora the Explorer.
No, she does not. She needs a backpack, and a map. So the therapist kind of sums up what's going on. Therapist says that Hilaria is trying to do too much and like make Alec have a breakthrough when he just got found innocent on this trial.
Yeah, she wants him to have a breakthrough. He should probably be breaking down because I feel like he hasn't really come to terms with the gravity of the whole situation.
Still to this day, I think. Like, you know.
And it's because he's not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Which is only like on camera.
Yeah.
But he can deal with it privately and express emotion.
Right. I mean, it does seem like to this day, it's more about how it's affected him.
Yes, and his family, and, you know, does Hilaria go to New Mexico?
And they pretty much have to, like, play the same clip of Hilaria over and over again every time Alec talks about it, where she's like, but the point is, it's not about us. It's about a woman died, her son, da-da-da. But and also, the mom, I'm worried about us.
Yeah, the son doesn't have a mom anymore. Do you notice how she doesn't say mom? She says mom, which like that. And then, like, I always watch everything with captions, like closed captions, and it's like MUM, like the British way of saying.
You know what would be the most cunt thing she could do? Change accents to British. Never fess up, never acknowledge it. The same as the Spanish, just British.
Yeah, as long as she never picks up a Boston accent, because that actually isn't offensive. It's offensive to the ears.
That's why I was born in Boston, but my parents moved me out before I could
get out of there.
Develop it. Yeah.
It's so nasty, so rude.
So rude. And then Hilaria, so they're driving home after, like, that's the parting words, is like the therapist is like, you just like kind of need to chill out on him and, you know, kind of give him a week or two after the, you know, trial, the charges were dismissed.
Yeah, like, let him keep cleaning trash cans, Hilaria, like, just
let him do his process, you know,
like,
and
let
then
him clean up after himself.
Yeah. And then Hilaria is just grilling his ass on the ride home. She did not hear at all. She's just like, well, what's the plan? So then they go back to the Hamptons, and the family goes to, I guess, a park, but it still seems to be part of their like property. It's like this beautiful land and like a little pagoda, and there's
I'm
ducks.
Like, is that a vista?
Yes, yeah.
It's so sprawling.
It's sprawling, and so then, I assume it's part of their property because they're really mad that like at like a bus stop, Pap is kind of hiding and taking pictures of them, and they're with their kids, so they're upset, and I'm like,
and they're making green pizzas.
Yes, well, I'm like, low key, did they cast this Pap?
Yes. Yeah. They did, because
he signed a release.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they didn't blur him.
Yeah.
Because so if he's not blurred, he did sign a release. And a lot of Paps, especially if it's Alec Baldwin is involved, they're not going to want to like, yeah, let me sign away my face on your show and you're an asshole to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, like they wouldn't let Alec get close enough for a release.
Right. Like, I know that when they're in the city, like, yes, there's probably, like, especially during like the height of his trial, there's probably paparazzi that,
which we get into.
Sometimes like she didn't call. But if your kids are in a field making green pizza,
and they also like, they obviously like
a paparazzi is not going to be there,
right? Because this is either their property or they, had the rights to film there. And the Hamptons is like notorious, like we know from Summer House about being very tough on filming. So it's like they've reserved the area. So yeah, it's like, it's clearly, a paparazzi out of Central Casting, looking furtive.
You never really see paparazzi shots of celebrities in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
Think about it.
And these were some of I remember seeing these promotional images, like this is just, I think, the photographer. Like,
yeah, but like the kids, they're famous. They grow up with they're famous. It's like, no, babe, I would have no idea what your kids look like. Like, I only can think of what Carmen looks like.
Yeah, same. Well, they all have the same like
that
face, which is no, it's her mom's face. They look exactly like her mom. They all like, it's like if you like cut off a picture of the mom and like slap the little blonde hair on it. They all got all of her mom's genes.
They all look Spanish.
Yes, so Spanish. So then this is all kind of trying to justify Alec, how he used to hit paparazzi, but he doesn't anymore. But he should be mad at them because they're bad. So like Alec talks about how he never does that anymore, and you can tell because he's not yelling at this guy, right? And then he's like, unless he chips,
he's on the payroll because he's paid.
He's like, I won't do it unless he chips my wife's teeth with the edge of his camera. I'm like, when did that happen?
What a thing to say! Like, I would not even know. Like, if someone paid me $1 billion to try to come up with a sentence like that, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's like you're not Princess Diana. Like I get why like Harry and Meghan and like they're all pissed off. Like the paparazzi like basically killed his mom.
She was hounded. Like that was crazy. Like it was like something that you can't even imagine what she went through. It's like no, like
it's like this is the era of backgrid now. Like half the time you're
calling them.
Not to say they're not like scumbags and tabloids aren't still scumbags, but they're also trying to earn a living. And I think like a lot of them have, I don't know too much about it, but some of them have found like an ethical way to do it through backgrid where they are being asked to do stage.
Yeah. And because it's like, okay, I'll let you get the shot, you'll get paid, but it'll be on my terms and I'll tell you where I am and I won't be looking like shit all of the time and you won't be chasing me.
Mm-hmm.
And like now I think like a lot of publications won't even post pictures of kids, which I think is a good thing.
Yes. I mean, I know everyone's, mad at Blake Lively or whatever, but like I do like that she's always been very forthcoming about like that and how that is, difficult.
Yeah, like Meghan Markle, like like we barely know what their kids look like, and that's a good thing.
But it's like the opposite with Hilaria and Alec, where it's like they're trying to make the kids the brand.
They are, and they're like parading them up and down the streets of Manhattan to go see a barber,
right? Yeah, and actually we get into this a little, and again, yeah, Hilaria talks about how they always like bump her, hit her, crowd her, and then it goes to, and I was so happy to see this, a shot of Hilaria running in the street like Kelly Ben Simone with the photographer behind her. It's like, well, what if you went on the sidewalk? Then the paparazzi on the motorcycle probably wouldn't be crowding you. It's like cars are also crowding you. You're running in the street.
But she likes to play games with the paparazzi.
So Hilaria talks about the days the charges were filed, and again she chooses like one story to counteract the narrative
right
against her, when really that's not at all kind of what was going on. She talks about like getting mobbed by the paparazzi, and then she pulls from a podcast that was like ragging on her mob wife aesthetic, that she came back out to the paparazzi with fishnets with like a line up the back and a metallic jacket. And they pull from this podcast that's obviously like not like us. Like they did not get all their information from Reddit. They didn't know what was going on, and they were just snarking. Everybody knew, like she was very open that this was a ruse that she was doing intentionally to like distract the paparazzi. That's why she's dressed like, you know, like a friggin' yeah, or I mean, like, but her version of Modwife is like, you know, like, sex worker like from the Deuce.
You're like, it was like the nanny, like Fran Drescher.
Oh no, the nanny
no
looks
taste.
No, yeah, exactly. It's like if the nanny wasn't in Moschino, maybe, but like, you know, she's in like Moschino. Sorry. And then, so yeah, so she's like, yeah, what they didn't know was I was trying to distract them so that Alec could get out. And it's like, no, we all knew that. And then you're like, and that's why, you know, I would take the baby and like distract, like people got so mad. It was like, no, people were mad. We knew you were doing that. You're using your baby as a shield. You're saying that the paparazzi chip your teeth and hurt you and have no respect for your personal space. And you're bringing your baby as like a human, like, you know, shield? Like bulletproof jacket. Like that's crazy.
Can you imagine anything like more disturbing to a baby?
Yeah,
like, just like little
all these lights. They're not even supposed to see flash.
Like, no, it's like this is insane. But it is a cute baby Bjorn.
It is, yeah.
And she
nice
really
Bjorn.
Bounces back so quickly after having those kids.
She really does.
Her bounce back game is so good.
Medical marvel. So then Alec gives them a tour of the Hamptons house, which is insightful.
Okay, we have to
you take over on this. Yeah.
Okay. The art. Okay, so when he's trying to do like, I guess like a confessional, like one-on-one with the cameras, I mean, like it is chaos in this house and it's not quiet. That's like whatever. Behind him, like his mantle, like his fireplace mantle, over his mantle is just a very large painting of Hilaria in sunglasses with what was that? Like it was like chips behind her or something. What was that?
I can't like remember exactly. I think I remember from the sub that it's kind that like a A-list actress has kind of a similar thing, like someone like really famous.
But
I don't know if it's like Madonna.
The Rust trial.
Yes, when it's like you have this like, picture about your relationship with the nature of celebrity, you know, that's like a ripoff of someone else's, you know, version of that.
Like I'm like, there's nowhere else you could sit in this house, and so then we do see the rest of the house, which is the saddest episode of Cribs.
Yeah,
which is like, you know, like I mean, like here's the boys' room, here's Carmen's room. Okay. Like, so when we see the house, whatever, he's like, it's never quiet. It's always chaos.
He's like, I bought it not knowing I'd have 7 kids.
It's a massive house. It's a beautiful home that he's been trying to unload for a long time.
Yes.
But then we have Carmen.
Oh, wait, but I just wanted to talk about like the hoarder room where the cat emerges.
Okay, so yeah, this is the thing too. Like, Alec has OCD, right? He has OCD. He's always cleaning. Things have to be just so. He has an entire room dedicated to filth. Like when he doesn't know where to put something, or when like everyone else in the house doesn't know where to put something, there's a lot of shit in that house. They just throw it in a room that doesn't even have lights, and then they close the door.
And see, now that actually is OCD to me. That is like obsessive tendencies, hiding, holding on to stuff for some, like that's kind of like a, you know, like a presentation we don't see as much that could help people if they would open up that door of shit. But metaphorically, this is the whole series, is them throwing shit in the closet, hiding it, and only showing what they want to show.
Well, so then something was uncovered, and I sent this to you. On the show, they talk about Alec has OCD. Alec has OCD. Alec has OCD. Well, he did an interview saying that he has PTSD not saying you can't have both. You can have both, but it's never mentioned on the show. It's just Hilaria always talking about Alec having OCD.
Because I think
never copping to it. And then him doing interviews saying now he has PTSD.
That's true. He never says OCD. He says like my illness, my sickness.
My sickness. Like, my mom made us clean the house and it was just me and my sister. My brothers didn't do shit. He's always throwing his brothers under the bus.
Yeah. And I think
didn't clean up.
And I think it's very much just like, because, you know, I think that's my problem with the OCD thing, is it's not being honestly portrayed. It's being used as a storyline. If it's true and he has it, it's like, you know, I'm not saying he doesn't have it. Like, you can have OCD and PTSD, but it's like, we're showing like a framing of events that look OCD rather than seeing the true nature of his struggle with it, which kind of portrays OCD as an easier thing and a less distressing thing to tackle than it actually is. Like, whether he does struggle with it in deeper, darker ways remains to be seen, but we're not seeing that. Yeah.
His wife is diagnosing him.
Exactly.
And then he's telling other people in national publications that he has a completely different diagnosis.
Right. Which, like, I imagine he does have PTSD.
If I accidentally killed somebody.
And many addicts have OCD too, but it's like the way that they've really staged and framed these shots and this story around a like kind of like picture perfect idea of OCD. So then on a lighter note, we meet a star.
Carmen's got a friend in town.
And her name is Fleur de la Cour.
Her name is Fleur, and she's British. And when Hilaria first tells us, because it's not Carmen who tells us that, it's Hilaria. When we first learned that Fleur is British, like, it makes, and that she's like in town, like, it makes it sound like she's visiting them from England when she's not. I think like when she said like she's in town, like she was just in the Hamptons. Like she lives in New York.
Yeah.
And this girl,
she has such great nails. I always notice has such great nails.
Hilaria says that.
Hilaria says. And so I was like, I want my nails like yours. So she said, I'm going to invite my 15-year-old sister. She does my nails. So then she can come over and do my nails. And so at first I'm thinking like, oh, this kind of makes sense because Hilaria, like, she's going to relate to a 15-year-old on camera.
Yeah,
like that's someone she can really talk to.
Like a 15-year-old is going to like do her nails and it's going to be cute. She treats her like she's like a full-on nail tech.
And so Carmen, Fleur, unnamed sister, and Hilaria are sitting outside. And Fleur has this like kind of like half British accent that like, you know, like Lisa Vanderpump's daughter has.
Kelly Osbourne.
Yes, where, you know, she's like, do you want French tips or classy? French tips are the classiest you can get. And like she says classy instead of classy. She's just so cute.
I always get French tips. Are those classy? And she's like, they're classy.
They're the classiest.
They're the classiest. She's not, you know. She doesn't have the Cockney accent. I wish Fleur did.
And then like she's like with Carmen like doing her makeup and she's like, you got goo in your eye. I think you blew your nose and it went into your eye. She's just so like
she's so cool.
She's so cool. She's so funny. Her accent is like that cute intersection of like sounding like a speech impediment and then sounding like a socialite. Like,
right. And she was the girl that she would never learn my name. Like even now,
yes.
if I was her own mother, she would never, like, she wouldn't be, she'd be like, I just need my sister who I will never also call her name. And she's going to do my cool nails.
Yes.
And I'm going to the Hamptons. And she can come to the Hamptons, but she has to only do it if she's doing nails.
Yes. Yeah. She's
for a celebrity.
Very
she has to do celebrities' nails.
The standout star, I think, of the group.
Yeah. This was this was a shift in the show for
yes.
sure.
And so even Hilaria is like kind of trying to get this girl's approval until she's kind of like talking to her older sister who is old enough to kind of be self-conscious on camera and is like, look at them, you know, they're watching TikTok. She's like, look at them. Do you think TikTok affects mental health? It was so different for you and me when we were young. It's like, she's 15 and the girl's like, yes, it was different for us.
And then, and then Hilaria is still trying to relate to still the unnamed 15-year-old. You know, I don't know. I don't think Hilaria is breaking any child labor laws here, but she did say to her, she's like, and you know, it's like, you know, you're European, but like,
but first, this scene, she just had a lot to accomplish. So first it was like looking, you know, making a statement on how social media is bad and like ruined Hilaria's life because of how mean everyone was. And so Hilaria kind of interviews Carmen and she's like, isn't it true that like being an adult is your choice, not ours? And like talking at it, and Carmen's like, yeah, okay, sure. And then Hilaria like is talking to the teen and she's like, then she's like, isn't it weird how like people hear you talk and they think you're gonna be British? And I was like, there it is. There it is.
There it is. Because like the girl, like I guess like Fleur and her sister, they lived in England and then they also lived in Amsterdam. So she's like, you know, I don't really remember those places, but my parents are British. I don't have any sort of like I just have this little bit of an accent. And Hilaria's like, yes. So it's like, you understand, you know, people, they'll make fun of that, you know, and they don't believe you.
Yeah, and in fact, she's like, I'm going to teach you something. It's called code switching. I'm like, what can't this woman appropriate? First of all, the fact that in the same scene, she's like maligning TikTok when she's the most online person. I don't think she's ever read a book, but I think she's read all of TikTok.
She started her own subreddit on, I'm convinced she started the Peppino subreddit.
And then it kind of spiraled back around on her. But it's like, you know, and what's really frustrating is that she's bringing this kid into the mix who's like understanding, like who's, you know, I co-sign, like she's trying to make her co-sign Hilaria's behavior. It's like, look, Hilaria, no one would be mad if your kids had slight Spanish accents. That is what they grew up around. And, you know, we all feel sorry for them. They don't. You did not grow up around that. You are faking it. And now you're bringing in a teenager to be like, see, we're the same.
We're the same. Yeah. Because, like, but the difference is this teen is like, her parents actually are European. They actually are British.
Yes.
She actually was like a resident of these other countries.
Bring in Rachel Dolezal to have this conversation, not this innocent child. Rachel's someone you have something in common with. Like,
by the way, that child really did great nails.
She did, yeah. So I get why she did it. She was like, all right, I'll do this, like, kind of,
friendships, you know, like Hilaria.
Oh, classy. The classiest nail.
They're not, because they already fell off on this hand.
But yeah, she was like, whatever, I'll get my nail business on camera and I'll, like, you know, this fake Spanish lady, I'll just like, good.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
It was also just so funny where Hilaria clearly thinks she is a teenager and she's like, dude, you know, look at them, they're so grown up. Do you remember back then we were just doing cartwheels? You know, it's like, this girl is 3 years older than her sister. Like, you're 40 years old. You're not the same. But she thinks
and then like those kids' parents are probably gonna watch that episode back and be like, what?
Whatever. Yeah. Well,
you know what? They said they had to sign that release.
Yeah. But then maybe they were like, we really believe in her being a nail tech to the stars. And part of that is co-signing whatever bullshit these rich, crazy ladies say.
I hope that I hope that Fleur got some representation after this.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, CAA if I'm someone at CAA, I'm knocking down all the doors to get to Fleur.
Oh, Fleur should have a Disney Channel original show centered around her. Right now.
She should be like the new Alex Mack. Bring that back and have Fleur be Alex Mack.
Yeah, have Fleur melting into puddles.
I'm manifesting it.
Yeah. So then, back to Alec, he's so OCD that he's trying to find his shoes splayed out in the hundreds of pairs of adult and children's shoes, not even in their mudroom, but just like beside their front door.
Right. Yep. It's so many shoes.
And like Hilaria's like, look, it's so OCD. He always organizes the shoes. I'm like, get a fucking shoe tree. Like, I am very disorganized, very sloppy, but it's like, I have shoe baskets and shoe, you know, it doesn't look good, but at least it's like, they're contained, you know, like that drives me nuts too.
In a basket by the door, and then we have like in our closet. Yeah, but then she wants to play a little trick on him, and she moves some shoes away from each other, and he's like, "Well, I just did that. I just put them back together." And she thinks it's
which
so
also,
funny.
So funny to try to trigger people's OCD.
Triggers. Yeah, like if he really like OCD is pretty serious. I have OCD. I take medication for it. I mean,
Same.
I'm not organizing shoes because of it, but I have a lot of negative thoughts that make me spiral, and I do other things to try to combat those negative thoughts. But she's,
It's
for
just
as
so
much as OCD is supposed to bother this girl, like to then do some trickery on somebody who's mentally unwell is so crazy.
it's just so funny how like she knows all these buzzwords, but she can just only engage in things on a surface level. Like the
Right.
first episode she tells us about is OCD. She's like, she says what a lot of OCD, I follow a lot of like OCD influencers and like, counselors, and they're like, you shouldn't flippantly say I'm so OCD. You shouldn't like just refer to, like the average things people do, straightening picture frames or whatever, and be like, that's so
Oh my
OCD.
God, I'm so OCD,
because it's a real disorder. So she says that part and then proceeds to only engage with that part of it, and not like the distressing thoughts that it stops you like from
ruminating
that it's like you're trying to stop bad things from happening. You're in a state of panic, like something awful is about to happen.
Yeah.
So it's not like about him being distressed, about him missing. We never see him missing time or any family events because that would be too negative. We just see him cleaning his dirty house that someone needs to clean, and Hilaria being like, stop it, that annoys me when you do that.
Yeah, and
let the maid do it.
Yeah, he's like, and we need new furniture because like the dogs and cats have like destroyed our furniture. And she's like, he's not well.
Yes, and then it gets really crazy when they go outside and Alec notices the car is scratched, which actually, first moment of not good acting from Alec.
Yeah.
He did not have a sense of discovery. Well, clearly, this was the storyline, the car scratched. You see it.
Yeah, and like, he probably scratched it.
Yeah, exactly.
He did. She's like, we need to talk about your OCD some more. This is riveting stuff.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, and then, he gets his classic Baldwin one-liner in where it's like, it probably was you. You drive like grandma when grandma smokes crack. Alec was just not locked in this scene in a way that I've come to expect from him, which I found frustrating.
Yeah, because we expect some really incredible comedic chops from this man on screen. This scene did not deliver the way that it really should have.
Right. Like, I don't mind his like horrible boomer material because obviously that's who he is and it's so cringe, but I want him to deliver it with commitment. I want him to make this. He's the one really kind of doing the grounding of this.
He's giving me a Stephen Baldwin performance in an Alec Baldwin body.
Word that, yes. So then he's washing the car because it has cheese and bird shit on it, and Hilaria's like, this is such a problem that you wash the car. Do you see what I have to deal with? I'm like, he's an old guy who like wants his car clean. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, it's a Range Rover, Hilaria.
Yeah. So then
that he paid for.
Yeah. So then Alec explains more about his OCD. And again, not saying it, but it's also like, they've talked about how he doesn't go to therapy. He doesn't want to go to therapy. He can never stick with it. So it's like, how does he even know about it other than his wife reading about it online?
She's like, this is your disease.
Yeah.
And and then he's like, oh, that makes sense because my house was never clean and the boys never helped my mom. It was just me and my sister. We did everything. But my brothers, Billy, Steven, Daniel.
Yeah, name them.
They didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And so I've always been the one to keep a clean home. Me and my sister. And it's like, I mean, we get it. Like, you don't like your brothers.
Yeah.
They're filthy.
Yeah. And your mom was disgusting, and you just have a level of resentment towards
for women,
everyone.
Except your sister because she cleaned, but Hilaria doesn't clean.
Right. And then she talks about some OCD memes that I've seen before that we're gonna cure.
She's showing him Reddit posts.
Yes. Our psychiatry. So then
our OCD, and she's like, yep, that's OCD. Alec.
So then we get into something I kind of want to just gloss over because it's like a little too icky for me, is like she's trying to, there's speculation about her using surrogacy, Gate and stuff, and because like she did have one of her kids by surrogate, she kind of really gets into, this is the only reason we see her relationship with them is to kind of clear up the timeline on that. And she does get into like, for infertility and stuff like that, but it's just a little too icky for me that like I don't want to.
I don't need to see that.
I don't want to see that. It's making me Aunt Sassy. Well, I got it. Icked out. So then everybody's playing in the backyard. Their playhouse is so sick, awesome. It's
my God.
It's
Their
like a real
backyard
park.
is like, are you kidding me? I want to live in this house.
It's so sick,
that pool,
dude.
Oh my God. Ugh. And I want the pool to come with Alec cleaning bugs out of it.
Yes, yeah.
He's so OCD.
Right. And then Alec, we get like this interspersed with his confessional where he's like, you know, all the men in my life, always talking about what the men think. Doesn't care so much about the women. No. The men think I need to get back to work, but this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, who are these men? Again, name them.
Name them.
Your brothers? You can't work. Like, you are not insurable. That's the only people he
names, by the way. Yeah. I've never even seen him name his own children.
That's true. I would love to put him on the spot.
Brothers. He doesn't even name his sister, who was the one who helped clean their mom's house.
Yes.
He just names Danny, Steven,
the famous
and
ones.
Billy.
Yeah. Yes. And then the producer's like, well, at some point you want to go back to acting, right? And then Alec is like, well, my friends, doesn't name them, all regret not spending time with their family because they struck while the iron was hot. Age 30 to 50, they worked all the time. Yeah, my friends, not me. I was being a good father. Kim was just a bitch. And, you know, she's the one who did all of that. But yeah, I wasn't taking every movie role that I could, you know, it's on her. Like, and also it's like, the iron is not hot for you right now. Like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, like, the iron hasn't been hot in a long time, even before all the Rust stuff happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Alex says, what I'm doing is this, at least for right now. And it's like, so, but you are working. You're working on this reality show.
You're working on a reality show.
The level they engage with the truth is like, it's so, you know, like, a picture of a picture of a picture.
Like Mariah Carey gif. I don't know her.
I don't know her. The truth? I don't know her.
I don't know her.
So that's the end of the episode. Next time, the true episode 5, we get Ireland, which I'm sure we'll get really deep into. My relationship with Ireland is unique, says Hilaria, because I'm so young. I'm only 11 years older with her.
Than her.
We were pregnant together.
Peer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of like Father of the Bride 2, except I am way less old than Diane Keaton ever was. You know,
yes.
It's just like,
and I'll never be old.
Yeah. So that's the end of the episode. Episode 5 will get out by next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, like, subscribe, comment. If you have any stuff you want us to cover after this,
please
comment below.
We want to do other things.
Yeah, we were thinking about Vanderpump Villa, which had an awful first season, but Stassi Schroeder, we think, is going to come on and kind of make it kind of a charm school where she's just berating trashy reality TV wannabes.
Basically what Monique was on Charm School.
So we want to maybe give that a try if you guys would be interested. Clearly enough people watched that Hulu picked it up for season 2. Or any other suggestions? Yeah, The Valley. We know we've got a lot of competition because that's a great show, but if you would watch our recaps, tell us. Just trying to see what's coming around the mountain. Oh, also let us know if you'd be interested in a live recap of the finale. The finale of the Baldwins will be April 13th. April 13th, Sunday the 13th. So yeah, if you want us to stay up a little past our bedtime and we can all watch it together. Okay, that's a hard no from Michele, but if enough people are interested, we can persuade her what you want us to watch next. And yeah, we love you guys. Bye, pepinos. Adios. Bye, students.
Cucumbers.